welcome to another episode of Six Friends in the Bag. And tonight we have two very special people, Belinda and Mark, who have a rather special occupation. Their occupation is about as far removed from anything as I do as common sense in the White House. So, why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Mark Oswald. I teach basically opera singers how to scream out high notes. And this is my high note wife, Belinda, who is at the Metropolitan Opera now in the Metropolitan Opera Chorus. I used to sing solo as a soloist in the Metropolitan Opera for a dozen years, and now I'm teaching singers how to do their best in that regard as well.
Good job. And pitch was perfect there as well. Let's take a little bit of your medium or piano singing.
Okay.
Let's overemphasize it here a little bit on the next section. Holy God.
Of course, I told you it was about as far removed from anything I did.
Well, that's okay. We all have our own things that we do. Thank God.
He does sing.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, Garrick. Good idea.
All right, Garrick. So tell us how you met Mark and Belinda.
Well, actually, I met Mark and Belinda through Sherry McCachran.
Oh.
And I'll let Belinda say how she met Sherry.
Well, we like to play poker, and I especially like all the table games at the casino. So I met Sherry at the Agua Caliente Casino.
Oh,
when she was
wow.
pit boss. Yeah, it was
Back
fun.
when she was pit bossing, right.
Yeah.
We explore Sherry.
Oh, I didn't realize she did that. That's
But that's Sherry. That she meets everyone, and everyone falls in love with Sherry.
Yeah.
She's just she's like a Mother Earth soulful thing. And so she said, I met this lovely couple from New York. You and Tony have to meet them. And I think we met at Melvin's, right?
Yes.
Yes. Just hear Chris Bennett sing.
wow. How long ago?
Oh, wait. No, that's not where we met. We met at Chris's.
We met at Chris Bennett's.
Yeah, Sherry wanted to give a big party for us, and Chris said, "Well, have it at my place."
Well, I wasn't too far off.
No, you weren't, because right after that we went to Melvin's, like the next week.
Right.
How
And then
long have you been friends?
Oh, yeah.
3 years, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 or 4.
And then they did my show when they were in town last summer.
That?
I'm Loretta Christensen, and we're here today with a very lovely couple from Manhattan. They are the Oswalds, and it's not pertaining to the one that tried to kill our president years ago. This is Belinda and Mark Oswald, and they are from the opera. And you know, I'm just very interested in this because I find it so unusual that you play with the Mets. You know, I was always a Cardinal fan, so I don't really follow the Mets, but
You know, I almost became perhaps a Met pitcher. I used to throw junk pitches, for example.
oh, did you? So is that how they brought your music to the ballpark?
Oh, well, I've sung some national anthems too, but not to confuse the matter.
I think we're confused.
Are we talking about the Mets baseball team?
No. Metropolitan Opera House.
Was hysterical. Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
Well, we're so impressed with Garrick. I mean, not only being Loretta, but he writes all the music and the songs, and he's so talented.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
It was fun.
But what was funny is I didn't let them know that they were going to see that. So everything you saw, their reactions was real.
Oh.
They didn't know. That was the first time they saw it. And they're like, that's why their expression was so great. Yeah.
Well, you guys responded very well. I would have been running out of there actually, but yeah,
Eric, you just sang an A sharp minor, did you not?
Yeah.
That's one of the weirdest keys.
I know. I sing and then I say, hey, Soren, put some music to this. And that's what he picked up to put to it. And it was really creepy, which I thought was perfect because she's kind of a creepy gal. So,
how was your experience in New York? Our son lives there, but everybody has a different take on it. So how are you guys holding up?
Okay. We're on the 18th floor of an apartment building. So
Can't get
I've
out.
I've had a lot of deliveries. I was only out maybe twice right when the Metropolitan Opera said, we can't have you here anymore. That was March 12th. I think I went out for groceries and mail. And other than that, I just go down to get my mail maybe once every 2 weeks, and everything is delivered, and I have to go through and wipe everything off. And you know how it is. It's crazy.
But thank God they have a nice terrace.
Oh,
Yes.
you do? Oh, good.
Yes.
I was going to say.
Right outside the
Right out
window
there?
is a huge terrace. It's bigger than our apartment.
Okay,
That's
so that
great.
and that suddenly matters a whole lot right now.
I know, to be able to walk outside, and when it's nice enough, I do my own little aerobics out there.
Oh, good.
Probably at the great entertainment to some people happen to be watching.
Have you guys sung outside your terrace for the people of New York like they do in Italy?
No.
Aw.
Well, it's so loud. I don't think you'd really hear it. Of course, we go out every night at 7,
Oh, yeah. You
and I
that,
do my
yeah.
wolf whistle, and we clap, and my wolf
Yeah.
whistle for a while. So
That's cool.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah. How did you get to be in the business that you're in? Were you singing as a young child? And
well, my sister and I would sing all the time, and I actually wanted to be a surgeon, and
Oh, wow.
my parents didn't have any money, and I was the youngest, so I went to the University of Wyoming at Laramie, and I played. I knew I had to do something in music to even get in, so I played the piano, the organ, drums, and I sang, and they gave me a full ride scholarship, but I had to take voice lessons, which I never had, because I was doing my double major in pre-med and that. And then I thought it was an alto because I could sight read, and my teacher was going higher, and I said, no, I can't do that. No, I think you can.
oh,
She goes, oh my gosh. And I just kept singing higher and higher. I had no idea I could sing that high. So she entered me in competitions, and I started winning competitions. And then I thought to myself, well, I might have to venture into this a little bit. And I did, and that was it. But I started late in the professional. I didn't know anything about opera until I started.
Did you get a coach, operatic coach?
Well, she was my voice teacher.
Oh, so the same lady.
But she sang opera, which I didn't know anything about it. Now, Mark was completely different.
Yeah, I mean, went to school, but I worked my little tush off in the practice rooms.
No. Well, how did you?
Oh,
Way back when,
way
in
back.
high school.
Yes, I grew up singing basically in a gospel quartet with my family.
Wow.
Oh,
2 guys and 2 girls, and I was the weak link. And then, my dad was a really fine natural singer. And after that, college, got into the Met.
No.
What?
Football.
Football. Oh, yes. I sang a lot of national anthems took my helmet off. I was a wide receiver in football.
what?
Yeah.
Wow.
And did a ton of those. And I sang actually for one of Pete Rose's last games in the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
Bunch
When he
of
was in
national
college.
anthems.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But you listen to opera as well, though.
Yep. I listened to Handel's Messiah every Sunday as a child, a teenager, in the lazy boy chair with there's no headphones. It was the old cassette player. I just loved it so much. I got into that. I was also part of being in high school choirs and traveling Europe.
You traveled Europe in a high school choir?
Well, it was just for a couple of weeks.
Well, still,
Well, that's pretty impressive.
cool.
A really great experience, and a good conductor, and he just got immersed in the classical music, which can be really beautiful once you learn about it. I mean, there's a lot of intricacies in the music that are kind of hard to understand. Once you get your mind around that kind of stuff, it's an acquired taste, Just started really loving it, and we were so fortunate to be able to do it. Belinda traveled the world with me for a while, and now she's one of the lead singers in the Metropolitan Opera Chorus, and really the lead actress too. And it was one of your goals to finish your Met Chorus career by doing which role?
Oh.
Here we go. Get this. She's so proud of it because, as she has matured,
May I say it? Okay. It's an acting role that I was handpicked by the director. It's putana, and that kind of means whore. And I'm the head whore, but he called me, you are putana, you're my putana.
You were the obvious choice, I guess?
Yeah, and I've been on film. We've HD'd that once or twice, at least twice. And I've gotten a lot of live and HDs, and they're also movies. So I've got some movie credits from my solos.
And one of my students was asked to do what to you on the stage?
Slap my butt.
One of your students?
And it was a rehearsal, and he had to pick me up and then slap me on the butt. He goes, oh my God, this is like going into my memoirs. He's a huge, very amazing black bass named Morris Robinson.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty funny. We got a kick out of that.
He said, I'm having to do that to my voice teacher's wife.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that. Did they ever have Scorpios sing on General Hospital?
Fortunately, no.
Fortunately, yeah, definitely fortunately, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I worked with a number of singers who were really good. One being Edie Lehman, who was a concert pianist player and also a backup singer. And she'd worked on pretty much every album that was ever made in LA. She worked for Michael Jackson. She worked for, all the famous black artists, and she was just incredible. She was way beyond any talent on General Hospital. And it was fun to work with her because we then always had a piano in every scene.
Oh,
so she would just sit down and just start to jiggle, and I'd sit down beside her, and we pretty much invented all that dialogue that came out. There was a loose reference to what was on the script, but it was great stuff.
I would love to see some of those clips.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're there. I mean, people dig them up all the time.
I wrote a song for you. I want to sing it for you.
Is that the one you tried to sing for me last night?
I did this last night?
Yeah. Well, not quite. You were a little disadvantaged.
I can't. I'm too embarrassed.
Oh, come on. Come on. No one's ever written a song for me before. Hey? Please? Pretty please?
Okay. I want you to listen to the words, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Do you see trust? Do you see caring? Do you see love?
Tell me, Belinda, what's the most difficult piece you've ever done?
Your debut.
Yeah, Moses und Aaron, Schoenberg.
Moses and Aaron in the most difficult German score you could possibly imagine, where essentially it's just like banging your elbow against the piano keys and then trying to figure out, what pitches to sing. They're like pitches out of nowhere that don't make sense to put together, and you have to learn that. And generally, it took how long for the chorus members to learn that and to be coached on it?
A full year, and I learned it all on my own, like less than a month. And I walked into the first rehearsal, totally memorized, and everybody else still had their score.
And the reason that she says that is because she was in the midst of being considered to be hired full time in the Metropolitan Opera Chorus, and she was going to do everything that she possibly could in order to ensure that she put in a good first gig. In order to do that, so she worked her tail off to learn this score. Yes.
Plus, I knew. May I talk, please? Plus, I knew the chorus master, and I had to really prove that it wasn't because he knew me is why I was going to get the job. So that was tough. So I had to prove to everybody that I deserved the job.
That was stressful too, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now with this social distancing, it's going to be interesting as to whether the opera companies will open at the theaters, of course, but imagine the singers, you get close to each other. There's a little bit, dare I say, of this when you're singing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You really got to
Yes.
vocal cords, yeah.
Yeah, and there's,
Wow.
of course,
Well, yeah,
love
if you're like front row in an audience, you don't get spit on once, you feel like, your seats weren't good enough.
right.
Although when you do your shows, they love who spits on them. He plays for Rick Springfield.
That's what Garrett said. That was awesome.
Of course, the women like when Rick spits on them.
So yeah, we're hoping, I am hoping things open up as much as you guys are.
Yeah.
Binging on anything?
Do you mean
Besides-
movies or food?
Apart from wine.
What kind of about?
No.
We're watching a lot of movies, binging on movies, but we're not quite sure that they're super high class. Of course, we've seen the Pavarotti. We've seen the Pavarotti movie, which everybody.
I haven't
should
finished
see.
it yet.
Oh, I did. Yeah. My son loved that.
Mark sang with him a lot.
I was in the newspaper
Wow.
in Germany. On one side of the paper, and the next page was Pavarotti. Now, for me, secondarily, it was because I went on in an opera that I was not scheduled to sing. I had rehearsed a different opera during the day. I was at home. I was tired. My voice was
In the
tired.
bathtub.
I was in the bathtub. So the article said from the bathtub to the stage.
Oh my gosh, that's
No. And so I went on in the second half of it. Anyway, the show went okay. But the next day or two from there, I was in the paper with that article, and Luciano Pavarotti was there in the next page, having been caught for the first time on the beach with his mistress, costing him $220 million for that indiscretion.
Oh,
What?
God. I remember that story, but I didn't remember the money.
Yeah.
I should have.
Yeah. Oh, it was a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, 220 million. How long have they been married?
Well,
How long's he been
he and
working?
his wife, I don't know, probably 30 years by that point. Now, I don't know if that's an exaggeration or exact number here,
Wow.
but it was a costly endeavor.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Her name was
listen to-
Nikonetta, the mistress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait. Did he stay with her? Did you say?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
Oh, he
and
did.
she's in the movie as well. She's in the movie as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you listen to Bocelli on Easter?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite
And the last text
Pop
from
opera.
the last text from Amazing Grace is "'Twas blind, but now I see."
I know he kept saying that. I'm like, oh my God.
and
know.
that
That would
was
have been hard.
so
Yeah.
poignant.
Yeah,
As he walked and sang outside.
How did
Right.
they do that? Do you know? How they-
Probably there were the steps.
I'm sure they tell him how far to
How many-
go and stop.
How
yeah.
many steps, and there may have been grooves in the steps in
Right.
where he was walking,
Okay.
potentially.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that very thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did too. I was
I
thinking,
think we all
where to
were.
go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, that's half the problem of this whole isolation thing right now, is that there's no good gossip. No one's out getting in trouble to be able to have something where you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? Nothing happened. Everybody's just sitting in their houses. Unless you shoot your spouse, you can't really do anything interesting enough that it's really exciting.
Now, Tristan, do you have a special dual rate?
Do you have a dual rate?
As a matter of fact, I do. It depends where you put the decimal point.
That's
was
perfect.
good.
Funny. That was good.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
Lord.
know, the Opera House in Milan.
La Scala.
Yeah, okay. I walked in there once when I was there. The door was open, so I said, why not? So I just walked in and looked around, and I was completely blown away by the scale of it. From outside, you can't tell that this is just an amazing palace of detail, and just it'll take your breath away if you've never seen it before.
I sang on the stage an audition where the pianist played the piece that I sang, a famous piece, twice as slow all of a sudden. twice as slow, which makes it can be very, very difficult. It was a very strange situation. Nonetheless, the audition went still fine. I didn't get anything out of it or any contract. The thing about La Scala, I'm told, and I believe this is a fact, that you have to pay off the claque of people that boo singers $1,000 a show, or they will boo you.
Yes.
Oh,
What?
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, I believe, a fact. You can certainly publish this one.
That's,
Yeah.
Wow, well, that's a pretty good. It's a job. Like I have to pay her $10 every Zoom so she doesn't boo me. But I mean, that's money well spent. I mean, that's fair.
Hey, $10, you only pay me $5. Christ, what's that all about?
you better ask for a raise.
Big bucks.
That's right. All right, I have a really ignorant question, so you might be embarrassed to ask this, but when you're learning your songs to sing, they're either in Italian or German. Do you know the language prior?
Well, actually, that's a really good question.
Okay,
Both Mark and I studied Italian and French and German, so those are quite easy. But I've had to sing in Sanskrit.
Which is what type of language?
Yeah, give me an example of that.
Oh my gosh, tum ta ta is one of the words. I mean, this was years ago.
That's got to
It
be
was
really
satyagraha.
because don't you have to say the words with something click or something? No, that's not that.
Well, it was like nonsensible words, so you had to make little rhymes up just to tum ta ta, Krishna.
This is Gandhi's story.
That was Satyagraha, yeah, Gandhi. And then we just did one that had ancient Egyptian and ancient Hebrew in it. It was on Akhenaten, which is about the king Akhenaten. It was both of them were Philip Glass, the composer, the minimalist.
Oh my gosh, my son loves him.
Oh, really?
Because, yeah.
Didn't he ran into him in New York? He was walking down the street in New York.
He was so excited.
Philip Glass. He was very
He did
excited.
one of the
cool
selfies
dude.
without him knowing that he was doing a selfie. He goes, "Look who I kind of met." He was so excited.
Yeah, he's awesome. He really is awesome. I love his work.
Done a lot of Russian.
He must have seen you then, because I think they went to. Were you? Well, he went to the Met. I just asked him right now. He said he's seen you many times for the.
Oh, he's seen me a million times. And right now, the Met's been streaming free things that have been on HD throughout the world.
Right. I did see that.
And so I've gotten to see, today I posted something, Garrick, think you saw that. I had a nice fun solo role in that. It was La Rondine Puccini. That was Italian.
Oh.
And then, my horror thing in Trovatore. Madame Butterfly was the mother in that. And
you were? Oh, wow.
something else that we just watched that I had. It was a spoken and acting role in Fille du Régiment, which is Daughter of the Regiment, which is in French. So that, it's been fun. I was telling all my family to watch my fun little scenes that I have.
Yeah, that's great.
So sometimes you have to learn things in nonsensical syllables.
Yeah.
One syllable and one consonant at a time.
Just to make sense of it.
That makes sense.
And there's maybe 20 operas that you'll have to learn a year, and 2 of them are Russian. So it's
and Czech, Hebrew, Egyptian.
Wow.
Like I said. Also Japanese. We did the Emperor. Last verse, I can't remember now, but Hashiwu, some stuff like that.
Here's a question. When you're supposed to sing a language that you just don't know, do they give you anything that sounds things out phonetically, or do you have to work that out from listening?
No, Maestro Palumbo, my boss, Donald Palumbo, he has a diction sheet, which shows if it's an open or closed, IPA phonetically, and also has a translation roughly, if not literal, underneath it, so we can understand, and it's easier to memorize, obviously, when you know a little bit what it's about.
To understand,
and hard emotion out,
Yeah, you understand where you're supposed to, when you say the big word, you can go, ooh. But because so that helps a lot as far as
it does.
Oh yeah.
You don't really have to be perfect in any language. You just have to be believable in the phrasing and the imitation of the sound.
You have to have a good ear.
Yeah. So people will say, "Oh, that's a really convincing. Her languages are so good." Well, really, do you know if she really speaks the language? You know, so the languages might not be good, but her ear and instinct for how it should sound against others is just ideal. So here at the Met, there may be a Russian soprano, an Italian tenor, a French bass, American baritone. Lots of different nationalities, but they can all fight. They can all kind of bicker big time. There was one guy at the Met that was hired to solve all of the bickering between the love interest, the tenor, and the soprano. There were daily fights between them. And his name was Charlie Reaper. And there was a telephone in every rehearsal room. And when he got the call, you knew he was coming down, and he was fixing it because I was in the middle of several of them.
Oh.
None of them caused by me.
Fixer.
The
Is that what he was? The fixer?
He was a
Yeah,
fixer.
he was the fixer.
Well, I've seen Mozart in the Jungle. I know what goes
Oh, I
on.
was thinking the same thing. You guys ever see that series?
Oh yeah, and I saw the one that he had Placido Domingo on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite opera that you have performed in?
Oh gosh, that's a really hard question to answer because
Like
they're
your
so
baby.
different.
Yeah.
I think choral wise, my favorite is probably Turandot, Puccini. But I mean, I love any Puccini for the most part. He kills me. I mean, but there's some Russian operas that I feel are so organic and very poignant that a lot of Russian operas, Boris Godunov, that was just on the other night, HD. We did War and Peace, which...
Oh, wow.
I have an interesting story about that. We have live animals at the Met a lot, right?
Oh.
And we're all singing, and we turn around, and Napoleon is on this huge white horse. We turn around, and my goodness, he was happy to see us.
Oh, no. Did everybody in the audience notice?
Oh, no.
Yeah, and we're like, oh my, oh my, oh my. And then at one point, we had to run across the stage, and the horse had gone all over, running all over.
Oh, my gosh.
And we're supposed to run across the stage and kind of in the dark. There was horse poop everywhere, and we're like,
Oh, my God.
Oh.
that was War and Peace. So isn't that awful? That's pretty much what I remember of War and Peace.
Well, I think everybody
The horse
remembered that.
all the way around.
Wow, so they bring the horse in obviously last minute for the show? How do you do that in New York with a...
Well, it's War and Peace, like the novel, is a very long opera.
I know, so that's...
They probably thought they timed it right.
There's some long operas that the chorus has 2.5 hours off in the middle of the
And
show.
then come back.
They come back.
Yeah.
They go out to a restaurant, take their makeup off and costume off, go out and have a meal and go back. And
Wow.
Not many. And Aida, which is a big Verdi, and there's this big triumphant scene and big procession, and horses come through too. And a lot of times they'll leave some road apples, and they have the handlers that are in costume following and just kind of. But one time they didn't get to it, and we kind of had to sing the whole triumphant scene, just like.
And you don't get thrown off.
Oh, my gosh.
Keep going. Oh, my gosh.
It was awful.
Kick it into the audience.
No, the show must go on.
Really nice meeting you guys. I could talk
Absolutely.
to you
Very
forever. We'll have to do this again another time.
I knew you would click.
Adventures.
This is fun.
Yeah, this is great. It's really great getting to know you and hearing stories. I have a whole bunch of other questions, but I'm thinking about the editing part, so we'll make this a two-parter.
You got it.
I like that idea. Hopefully you guys can hang in there and entertain your neighbors if they can hear you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And stay safe.
Yeah.
Thanks, you too. This has really been fantastic. And
It is.
cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Indeed.
All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Take
Yeah,
us
it's
out.
great
back at
seeing you
you.
guys.
Tristan, it's
Really
your job
pleasure.
to take us home.
That's right.
Okay, everybody. Sus ends another show,
Yeah.
and we look forward to doing another one again in the near future. Thank you so much. I mean, I've never understood opera as well as I understand the way you've articulated it. You've taken what is obviously a very complex profession and put it in the to layman's terms, like me, an idiot, and I get it, totally. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, you
Great
too.
to see you guys.
Thank you so much. See you again.
Bye.
Bye.